Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, Zelensky and Putin are ready to make a deal. I will discuss what exactly that means. We find out that even the Russians are saying that we are making big, important progress in the ceasefire and what word they use here? In ceasefire. And this is Putin's aide saying that. Then we're going to discuss the mirage, not the mirage, we're going to discuss the victory, of the Allies. I can include Soviet Union in that, in the Second World War. We are supposed to be very happy about that. Some are happy, some are not happy, and I will explain why. Why? Just as a shortened answer is because a shed, or a potential shed, was replaced by another shed. It's just that the guys behind this shed are a little bit different than the guys behind the other potential shed. I will discuss. Let's start with the Putin and Zelensky ready to make a deal. That's fantastic news. And I'm going to tell you, whenever you hear they're ready to make a deal, Zelensky is ready to make a deal, or Putin is ready, so the Russians, the guys in charge of Ukraine, I will tell you what it is. That is, Ukraine loses. That's what the deal is all about. So when you think it's going to be a negotiation, it's going to be a negotiation, but 4 issues will be non-discussable, non-negotiable. The Russians. So when these guys, they're going to make a deal, that means the other side, unfortunately the Ukrainian nation, but I will explain why Ukrainian nation should go and take care of the leaders, take care meaning like voting them out, if they're allowed, will lose because of these 4. And I will explain. Let's read the first article. This comes from April 1st, Russia Today. Putin and Zelensky ready to make a deal. The US president has insisted that he will succeed in his mediation efforts. First lie right here. He is not mediating. He's pushing the finger to mediate with the guy. The rest is USA and the West, okay? So they say, now you lost. It's not you. It's you, until you get the finger who was shooting at the Russians, you have everything else. But they say, no, the finger, I'm going to be mediator. As said many times before, when they say, and they will say, the United States of America or the European Union or whomever want to mediate, don't look at that as a mediation. It's losing, talking to the guys who could not be defeated. That's what it is. And they all lost. Some big businesses did not, obviously, got fatter, and some politicians will be voted in the office again. That's all. And some of us, had to put up with this. I'm not going to talk about the Ukrainians and the Russians, who are the biggest losers. So, will succeed in his mediation effort. First, is no mediation by United States of America. Is participating at the negotiating table as a losing side. They don't want to say that because they don't want to make the baboons with a Bud Light. Yeah, man, we won. Yeah, we won. The same thing as the Brits said after the Second World War. That's why I linked this article with this article right here. Russia Today, combined might of Stalin, Roosevelt and Churchill saved the world. That's a statement. Okay? Can we repeat the recipe? That means it was fantastic. The cooperation. Cooperation of the what? You have a pack of wolves and you have another pack of wolves. Wolves, both wolves. These guys lost because these guys ate those ones. But they're still wolves. We saved the world. No, what you did, you carved the world. Exactly what the other pack of wolves, the Germans and Italians and the Japanese wanted. So, from A to A. All right, let's read the first article and see what other garbage they say here. The leaders of Russia and Ukraine are ready to make a peace deal, US President Donald Trump claimed on Thursday. He has been trying to broker a ceasefire, don't buy that, between the two neighbors since February. And the Russians are playing that. Why? They're negotiating. Why? They don't want to, they don't want to hurt the feelings. They don't want to, how they said to Putin in 2022, remember? Don't, what was Macron's word? about don't, Jesus Christ, I can find a word. Anyway, by the time I'll be finished with this, I will remember. So, no, my friends, it's not. They don't want to hurt their feelings. That's what it is. Don't want to insult. Save face. All right, let's go and discuss why I think that is only Ukrainians losing. First, the Ukrainian nation. I'm not talking about Zelensky Stein, Yermak Stein, or Zmihal Stein, or Umerov, or Sirsky. These guys are ethnically something else. Demonstrably, you can demonstrate they are not Ukrainians. If you believe that the Ukrainians are, genetically Slavs and whatever they are. Okay? Now, yes, Sirsky is a Slav. He's a Russian. Umerov is not a Slav. And the other three baboons are not Slavs. Okay? So, anyway. So, for the Ukrainian nation, you were used, unfortunately, with great sacrifice from your men, women, children, future traditions, and culture. Your territory, or the territory that you once had as Ukraine, will be no more. Why? Because you, the Ukrainian nation, have been used by interests that now negotiate, mediate between you and your friends, not your friends, your relatives, the Russians. That's what it is. And you could have a Ukraine, maybe with some autonomous, even though there was not a discussion about that during 2014, 13, and so on, regarding Viktor Yanukovych, the president. So you could have had your country, but no. Some people got in your first they toppled, overthrew through a coup your government, the government elected, legitimate government, Viktor Yanukovych, and then they tried to do what they did, and this is the outcome. So, by trying to do that with the orders from the other side, not the Russians, the other side. So this is the resultant. Why? Because the guys in charge of you lied to you and did not work for your interest. Now, from this Ukraine, you're going to get to this Ukraine, or maybe this Ukraine. Okay, that's what you are going to end up. Now, this is not that they are ready to, remember, make a deal. The deal will be like this. There are 4 non-negotiables coming from Putin. Putin, Russia, I know, unprovoked and undefendable, war in Ukraine started because of 4 issues. First one, NATO. NATO was not supposed to be here. NATO came next to my, okay? And we can do a lot of things with NATO, but nevertheless, NATO was the first one. And then the second one is militarization of Ukraine. Third one, what they call Nazification. And the other one, now, the recognition of the occupied, liberated, how do you want to call them, territories. Donbass plus the Crimean Peninsula. And that means when they're going to make a deal, I guarantee you, all these 4 will be achieved by the Russians. And you lost, Ukrainians. You lost. If you continue to support, I would say, the guys in charge of you, the guys, not the Ukrainians in charge of you, you're going to lose more. That is my take. And you don't have a mediator, you have a loser over there who tries to save, that the word was humiliate. So Russia now doesn't want to humiliate United States of America. As Macron said, we should not humiliate Putin. Oh, we should not humiliate Putin. Everybody was like, that's the whole purpose. Remember? Asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît. All right. So that's why it was. Do not want to humiliate. That's why the Russians are talking to whomever will be able to give them the 4. All right. That's the first point I make. And we can use as well the Russians saying the significant progress made on Ukraine's ceasefire. Oh, that's true. But that also goes to this. Remember this? That is the peace deal. We're going to take the 4 and more. We're going to negotiate about other things. The energy truce was an important step towards ending the hostilities, Kirill Dmitriev has said. This is the Russian envoy who just went to Washington, D.C. Don't believe this. As I said, you are losing, unfortunately. Next one. That gets me to this. It's going to be another designation of the spheres of influence between the big dogs. That's how it was, the big, right here. And I will show you how these guys, Roosevelt and Churchill, their nations were used by the same guys who tell you now that Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine is fantastic and the evil Putin. The same thing was over there, but in reverse. That is, Stalin is fantastic and Adolf is bad. Okay, Adolf is bad, but Stalin was no better. And I can look even further and look at Churchill if he was better than these two. But anyway, he's on the winning side, therefore the victors write the history. So let's discuss that bullshit. In the same time as right now, you had the mass media owned by mainly the same guys who were telling the guys in Roosevelt country and Churchill country that the big boogeyman is right there who wants to take over the world. That's exactly what they tell us about the Putin in here. Oh, he has imperialistic ambitions. He wants to put back together the Soviet Empire. Soviet Union was an empire. United States of America is not an empire. Now, from the very beginning, there's a lie. You start with a lie, you're gonna end up with a lie. Imagine you bake a cake and you put salt instead of sugar. From the very beginning, you're not gonna have a cake, a sweet cake. I don't know if it's gonna grow, whatever it's gonna be. So you have this idea in the West promoted by the same people until Stalin turned around against the group in charge of your media in those two countries. Stalin and Soviet Union and Trotsky were all heroes. Oh, Uncle Joe. That's how Roosevelt was referring to the Georgian, not Russian, dictator, tyrant, Soviet, communist Stalin, man of steel. So remember, when they tell you Russia, Stalin, no, it's not that. It's Soviet Union, Stalin. And Stalin was a Georgian, a Gruzian. Okay, got that out. When they talk about Trotsky, why is Trotsky such a symbol? They made Trotsky to be a symbol. Trotsky was a murderer. Trotsky was not a... Look at his decisions. And the same with Lenin, the same with Stalin. None of these guys was Russian. Got that? I'm not saying that the Russians are saints. No. I'm talking about why some are made into such beautiful angels, like Trotsky. Oh my God, he was killed in New Mexico with the ice pick. And by whom? The guy who fucked whom? Anyway, go and check that out. Trotsky. Why? Because Trotsky was Mr. Bronstein. And when Stalin, after the Second World War, because he postponed it, started purging certain people, then all of a sudden Stalin was the bad guy. But he purged the whole military. What? 80% of the Soviet military was purged before 1937, which was the Holodomor with Mr. Kaganovich, not the Russian Kaganovich. Okay? So then he was okay. It was Uncle Joe. And then after he went after the guys, Soviet Union was bad. All of a sudden, the media in your countries portrayed Stalin as bad. Nothing changed, but he went after those guys. And then you said, oh, Stalin is bad. Now, he was good. What happened? They knew he was bad. So they made a deal. They say, these guys, actually, Churchill, we can take him out. I'm going to discuss what got these guys out of the Second World War that we have to copy again. This guy, you can ignore him. Why? Churchill did not win, let's put the elections. I'm very generous saying elections in Great Britain, the Prime Minister, but nevertheless, he was not elected Prime Minister of Great Britain after the war. So you're the big winner and you're not elected? It's like someone, I don't know, is a president of the Cancer Association and he's a scientist and he discovers the cure of all cancer. And then the next year are elections, or the next month are elections. He doesn't win a seat as a scientist. He just be sent to his little baboon thing after he checked mark the Balfour Declaration. I'm just kidding, but you know where I'm going with this, right? So Churchill bankrupted Great Britain. I will show you. Do you know when Great Britain paid its last tranche of the loans it got from the bankers in the United States of America? Do you know? In 2006. So yes, actually Great Britain won the war. I'm going to show you. I have here an article who wants me to buy things. But anyway, here. This comes from SE, or whatever that is, but that's a fact. Did the UK pay off World War II debt? On the 31st of December 2006, the war, mind you, ended in 1945. Britain made a final payment of $83 million to the US and about $26.6 million to Canada. By the end of the World War, Britain has amassed an immense debt of £21 billion. So not only you bankrupted your country, you helped disintegrate your empire. So Britannia was cut. Yeah, it's okay, you formed a country in 1948. Good job. Yeah, okay. All right. And then what else you do? You lost all your colonies. Not all, most of your colonies. Good job. But that's victory for you. You were just over there as a, I don't know, reflex man, Churchill in Potsdam. He was just at nothing. It was about Harry Truman, and it was about Stalin at that point. And what happened? They carved the world. Yeah, the other guy who also wanted to carve the world did not carve it in his image, but these guys carved it in their image. So remember, you have a criminal, big one, Stalin. You make a deal with him to allow him and to separate. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Why? Stalin was the good guy in 1945, supposedly. He just turned bad after he went after the guys. That's when he turned, oh my God, Stalin is bad. And he didn't do anything worse after 1945 than he did in the 30s. Nothing worse. On the contrary, he brought atomic bombs to and started industrialization of Soviet Union. But hey, he became a bad dude only then. Do you think they didn't have the information? Churchill and Roosevelt, or if you want, Harry Truman, do you think they did not have the information who and what was going on in Soviet Union? They did. They didn't care. They gave half of Europe to the new boss, Stalin, because they didn't want to give it to Schicklgruber. Mr. Schicklgruber, you know who Mr. Schicklgruber is? Okay, I'm going to refer to Adolf as Mr. Schicklgruber because that's his family name initially. Mr. Schicklgruber, if I remember correctly, or his mom or something like this. Anyway, go and check it out. So then, what happened after that? After that, we had war in Korea between the big dogs that saved the world. That was the title over there. Save the world, right there. They saved the world. How did they save the world? These guys became imperialistic. These guys tried to do it, and they got half of Europe and went into East Asia with communism. Churchill was losing. Who won exactly? I think only these guys won. But how did they win? They had the Korean War, then they have the Vietnam War, just to mention two. And now they have the thing in Ukraine, as they have it. Why? Because they don't want to get bruised anymore. They want to have other people bruised. So, leave me alone. We won the Second World War. We lost. Some won. And I think most of us lost. Go and ask East Asia how it won. Go and ask the Eastern Europe how it won. And Eastern Europe was dropped by the free country, free world, United States of America and Churchill, let's put it, all right, dropped into Stalin's lap. And what did the guys in charge of Stalin, of Soviet Union do? They appointed the same guys, like Anna Pauker, Hannah Robinson in Romania, to go over there as a communist to take care of the Romanians. Like you have right now Zelensky taking care of the Ukrainians. Got that? You have to understand the dynamics way above of these things. Like, oh, can we repeat that? No, we can't repeat the recipe. No, because it's the big dogs. I'm not saying, oh, Putin is Stalin. No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. Or Trump is Roosevelt. No, but don't give me this, oh, it was fantastic. No, I think it was not fantastic. And the goals they are telling us that we fought for, the Brits fought for, and the Americans' liberation of Europe, they liberated squat. Nothing. Nothing. Liberate anything. Everything went to what? To them, to the United States of America, Europe, and then the Eastern Europe was given to the criminal communists, non-Russians. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.